Thank you for standing by, and welcome to the Platinum Series Software Overview webcast. During today's webcast, attendees will be in listen-only mode. There will be a Q&A session at the end of today's call. If you have a question during the presentation, you may submit it online by entering it into the QA panel. If you're in full screen view, click the question icon located in the floating toolbar at the lower side of your screen. Simply type a question into the dialog box and click the Send button. If you're in the split screen mode, the Q&A panel is already open and is located on the lower right side of your screen. As a reminder, this presentation is being recorded. If you are experiencing technical issues, please contact WebEx Technical Support. Our speaker today is John Kadike, Central Zone Technical Manager. John, please go ahead.
Hi, my name's John. In today's webcast, we're going to be going over the basic overview of the programming. We're not going to get into all the details of it, but you're going to see all the possibilities and of the programming and what's available to you to adjust and modify and specialize and all that kind of thing. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get out of this real quick, and so we'll get into the programming. This is your main screen. This is your brew screen. You choose your small, medium, or large, and then just hit brew. This top logo here, our button logo, that's the magic button to let you get into programming. Just push and hold that for a couple of seconds. The first screen we come to, we have event log. So in the case that you have trouble with your equipment and it keeps failing, or you had something happen and you're not sure what it was, your technician shows up and it seems to be working fine when he shows up, but you can go into the event log and see all the different error codes that this one had, or events that happened. This one had a software update, and it looks like the tank took too long to fill it at some point, so water must have been turned off. So it gives a good history as to what's happened with the machine. It gives a good idea of what could be causing the problems. Next option is statistics. This shows you how many brews were on each cycle, left and right, and small, medium, and large, so you can kind of keep track of the use of the machine. The next screen shows the version of software and the model and serial number. We go back. The next option we have is care and cleaning. This gives you picture prompted cleaning. First of all, daily. This is what you do every day. Wipe the spray head panel and the entire outside surface of the machine with a clean, damp cloth. Weekly, remove the spray head, disassemble spray head, clean the fitting behind the spray head, and so on. It tells you everything to do with the picture for the weekly cleaning. Picture prompted, so it's pretty easy. All you have to do is know how to get into the programming. Dispenser here, lid assembly, shows you how to take the lid off and what to clean on it. Server, the same thing, all the steps of the server. So picture prompted cleaning makes things a lot easier for someone to get familiar with the machine. And then, of course, once they do it a couple times, they don't need to go into the screen for the steps. So the last option on this main programming screen is an advanced. And once we push advanced, the password screen comes up. Now, if you don't have a password entered into the software, then just push enter. But if you push enter and you don't get into the software, that means somebody has put a password in there at some point. You can use our backdoor password to get into there. That backdoor password is 6601. So in this advanced screen, we have recipes, machine settings, service, calibrations, and import-export. So let's get into recipes. You choose which recipe you want to change. If you choose the medium, you can choose the volume, whatever you want to change, put in the number, hit enter, save. So this is pretty intuitive. If I wanted to change the pre-infusion, drip time, the temperature that the coffee holds at, for example, holds at 185. Let's say I want to turn that down to 180, and it's just that easy. All of this is very intuitive. All you have to do is just kind of poke around, and you should be able to find what you're looking for. The main thing is just knowing what's available to you to be able to change. So that's in the recipes. On the machine settings, we have the regional settings, which is like time and all that. Password, time, language, and units between metric and standard. Brewer settings, screensaver, Wi-Fi, funnel detect, and energy saver. Energy saver shuts the machine down and stops keeping it hot at night if it's not being used. Wi-Fi lets you view the status of the machine or the servers, which one's empty and which one's expired, and the time left on each server from a remote tablet. And the screensaver is what you saw at the beginning. Brew settings, this is the temperature, whether or not you lock it out. So the tank is set to 200 degrees. The ready temp is 195, and brew lockout is set, so that means you can't brew until the water is 195 in the tank. And then server settings. Server settings let you turn automatic off, server preheat, server detect, and so on. If we go into service, this is a diagnostic tool. You can push on history, event history, and it brings back to the events log that we saw earlier. If you go back to the diagnostic screen, we can restore defaults. Service numbers, you can put a phone number in there. If the machine has an error, you can put a phone number up there of who to call. Test outputs, push test outputs. Now once I push these, you can test all the machine functions. So this is a good diagnostic tool. Makes for fairly quick diagnostics. Next is calibrations. And here it's just simple spray head, calibrate the spray head or calibrate the bypass. We just choose one, and so on the left we would hit start. It would calibrate the left one. If you would hit start over here, it would calibrate this one, and so on. You measure the water, of course, and just enter the number that you measured on the screen here. We can use a USB thumb drive to copy the settings from one machine to another machine. So you can have a machine and do all the programming and testing that you need to do, and then copy all the settings and recipes onto a thumb drive to put onto all of your other equipment out in the field. We're going to go to advanced. We're going to pass up the password screen, and we'll go to import export. So first I want to take the programming that is in this machine here and export it. Well, it won't let me export. There we go. Insert USB stick. So we're going to put the thumb drive right here in the side. Now I can choose to export recipes, machine settings, graphics, or all. In this case, I just want to copy the whole thing. So I'm just going to export all and say yes. It just takes a couple seconds. Transfer complete. So I can take the thumb drive out. Now, if I go back to advanced, I just want to clear the programming out now. Restore defaults. Now I just restored the defaults, so now the machine is back to factory settings. I go back into advanced, import export, I reinsert the thumb drive, and we can pretend this is a different machine, and we just hit import, and we can import all. Just that simple. So even though I took all the programming off of this machine and put it right back onto the same machine, you could have just as easily taken the programming off of this machine and put it onto another machine of the same model. We do have variations of the Infusion Platinum series, so you can only copy and move programming from like machines. So for example, this is an ICB twin. You couldn't take that programming off of this machine and put it onto a ICB single. It won't follow. We are working on software that'll let you do that in the future, but currently it's not available. Go back to the main screen, then we're done. This machine also has a feature where you can wirelessly monitor the condition of the machine and the servers. So if a server, you've got the server programmed to hold for 1 hour and it's coming up on that hour, you can see remotely from a phone or a tablet up wherever you want to stage the tablet at or look on your phone. You can connect through this wirely. It's not Bluetooth, it's Wi-Fi. So to do this, we do have a set of instructions. We can email this to you, and they're fairly easy to follow. We're going to go through those now, but if you call our technical services department at 1-800-286-6070 and have them email these instructions to you. I'm just going to go through the motions here, and we'll put screenshots up on the screen for you. I'm going to go to my settings, and then go to Wi-Fi. And then it's going to give me a list of networks to choose from. In this case, I have Infusion 4402. This is an Infusion brewer, and the last four of the serial number here is 4402. So I'm going to click on that. It's going to ask for a password. Password for any of this equipment is Infusion. INFUISION. There you go. And then just click join. So now I'm wirelessly connected, Wi-Fi connected to the brewer itself. So you go to your browser next. Just like you're opening a regular internet page. In the top search bar, type the number 192.168.1.1 and hit go or search or enter. And then you'll be connected right to the dashboard for this machine. So right here I can see I'm picking up some other brewer in the room that is disconnected, and this brewer ICBT 0, well, it's got the serial number on it. These servers are not connected right now, but once I put the server on, it's going to take a couple seconds to register, and now it's flashing red and it says empty. So then I'll push this one on there, and now it's showing me this is regular coffee and this is Ethiopia coffee. It's also showing me the serial number for each of these servers. So it shows you the placement left and right on the brewer, and it shows you the serial number of each servers. This also works to connect other stands if you'd like to. So you can expand these and monitor everything right from your dashboard. Okay, so that's all we have for you for right now. Basics of the programming, general capabilities. We're going to open it up for questions now. Just go ahead and type in your questions off to the right, and we'll go through anything else you'd like to see, or if you'd like to get farther into one of these programmings, just let me know, and we can do that too. But if you're able to catch some of that, the recording is going to be posted up on our website right after this. So look for it there and play it back if you have some time. Other than that, we're going to open it up for questions. So just type your question in off to the side, and we'll try to see if we can get you an answer.
come from to access the programming side?
Where do the numbers come from to access the programming? I'm not sure I understand the question. Could you clarify what numbers you're talking about?
You mentioned the phone numbers or numbers to get into the machine to load recipes. Where is that? Passwords?
Oh, passwords? Are you talking about the password? Is you just use our backdoor password 6601. You can choose your own password and put your own password in there. But right here is the password screen. Can we flip the camera over or not? Okay, so this is the password screen right here. We don't have a password in this machine, so I can just hit enter and get into programming. But if you're stuck and you can't get past this screen here, just push in 6601 and it'll let you in the programming. And you mentioned something about recipes. Going to the recipe screen, I just choose regular, for example, and then small, medium, and large. So I choose large here, and it gives me all of my options for volume, bypass, pre-infusion, pulse brew, smart wave, drip time, soft heat temperature, freshness, which is freshness time, how long you want to hold the coffee, and then review recipe. So I can just review recipe right there, and it shows me that this is total brew time, volume is 192, etc. If that didn't answer your question, try to clarify, and maybe we can get into it.
Can each server have a different temp setting and hold time, alert, or flashing starts?
Yes, each recipe has these variations. So I can go back here. For example, freshness on this regular recipe, I can choose to hold my regular coffee for, it's set for an hour. And it's not letting me push. Let me see if I can do that. This is easier. I just pushed on the screen. Now it's going to let me, it tells me the minimum is 15 minutes and the maximum is 10 hours. But I'll just put in an hour and 30 minutes. Oh, I gotta hit the little symbol there. 1.30 and enter. So now the whole time is an hour and 30 minutes. So if I go back to another recipe, say decaf, go to large, and freshness, it's still set at 1 hour. So changing one recipe doesn't change everything across the board. The soft heat temperature, so let's say I want to hold my decaf for an hour, but I want to set it to 180 degrees. So now that server, whichever server I brew into, it's going to program that server to do that. So if I brew regular coffee into a server, it's going to hold at 185 degrees for an hour and a half. And then if I rinse that server out and dump it and put it back up there and brew decaf into it, it's going to, by these settings, it's going to hold it for 1 hour at 180 degrees. So you don't have to have a designated server to always be something. It can be programmed based on the recipe. No other questions? Sorry about the video today, guys. I know it was all choppy and it was probably hard to watch. But go on the website later and click on it. It's only about a 13-minute video, I think, and it should play just fine from the website. We have another question?
What causes the brew to stop heating the server?
What would cause it to stop heating the server is if you have the server that's a setting in, it's not by recipe, it's a machine setting. Machine settings, server setting, and we can choose auto off. If I choose auto off, it gives me a time. So after it's expired, I can say 0. I can have it turn off right at that time. Oh, I have to enable it first. Or I can say, you know what, after it's expired, go ahead and keep it hot for another 20 minutes. Oh, yep, there we go. 20 minutes. So now all the servers, regardless of the recipe, when they expire, they're going to stay hot for another 20 minutes. Then the power to that server is going to go off. I don't necessarily recommend using that feature because there's not really a reason to turn it off except for maybe a couple hours later somebody realizes the coffee is cold. But that's up to you, of course. Do you have any more questions? Okay, well, so again, sorry about the video today. Something happened to our connection. It just wasn't streaming like it should. As far as I know, the audio was okay, other than this silly sound of my voice. But anyway, thanks for joining us today, and be looking at the calendar for the next ones coming up. And we'll see you next time.